uh, uh, why I have chosen this topic is the hierarchy of cognitive levels with the digital Bloom's taxonomy. So nowadays, the MHRD is forcing us, and they are allowing the institutions to get a transformation from the traditional way of educational systems into a digital level, as well as they want to go for an because we need to compete in a global arena. It is not only we are competing alone in that single province or only in India. So we need to compete with the Western countries in the top universities. So we have to rise up our standards so that we could live up with an, as well as we can able to compete with an global arena. So that is the reason MHRD is also forcing us. So there are different yardsticks how the institution can be evolved into an international arena, as well as they have raised up their level. So which has to be measured in terms of how the institutions or universities are getting an accreditation. Please don't mistake me, because there are some participants from other states also. So I could not able to blend the language both in English and Tamil. So there is no other way. I have to give it in only an English language. And also one common request to all the participants: if you have any queries or anything, you just make a note of it. At the end of the session, we will have a question and answer sessions. So in that sessions, what you can do is you can just type the questions, whatever the doubts you have, just in the chat window, you can type it, and we are ready to take up your questions, and we will give an answers for that also. Let me come to a topic. So how the institutions or the universities has been evaluated by means of some different accreditation process. For example, for even in universities and all the colleges, right from engineering education or the arts and science colleges, all the colleges, they will be going for an accreditation process. And then that is going to be an overall institutional accreditation process. Whereas if you are going to go for some engineering education, so engineering colleges, they want to go for an NBA accreditation. It is related to that department itself. Suppose some single department, they want to have an accreditation, they will go for an NBA. And now recent years, MHRD is giving an green signal to all the best performing institutions to go for an autonomy, so that we will get an academic autonomy, as well as we got a freedom to set our own syllabus and curriculum according to that industry needs. We can able to do that. So I'm very happy to share this in this forum. We, the KLN College of Engineering, we have more than 25 years of experience in educational institution. So this year we got an autonomous status from 2020 to 2030. So we also got a complete autonomy, academic autonomy. So these are all the yardsticks which we can go for further. We can take up our institution into a next level. So whatever the level we are here, and we can rise up our institution to the next level. And all these accreditation, everything is based on the outcome-based education. So if you are going to attend this program also, so at the end of this program, what is the takeaway and what is an outcome? So what you will get benefit. So that is an important point. Any accreditation process also, they will be insisting that part only. So what is the outcome? So even if you go and handle any of the classes, for the course also, there will be an outcome. There is a course also, there will be an outcome. For each and everything, we have an outcome. Why I need to specify this is, once we have an objective, so that we can able to get our outcomes also. So in this session, by attending this session, session objectives. At the end of the session, you all going to get some 3 important takeaways from this, because even in institutions also, there will be a lot of conflict also which is happening. So how the Bloom's taxonomy, even some of the younger faculty members, they are confusing it, that how I can able to set the questions, how I can able to set our objective, how I can able to set our outcomes with respect to the higher levels. So whether it is going to be a lower order thinking level or it is going to be a higher order thinking level. So for that reason, we have set our session objective end of this 1.5 hours. maybe a 60 to 80 minutes of time, which I'm going to give some 3 important takeaways. That takeaways are, at the end of the session, the participants will be able to understand what the Bloom's taxonomy and also how you can able to apply on your own subjects. And then the second important takeaway is identify a list of digital tools that are useful for students, whether they are inside the class or they are outside the class. As like how in the situation we are also, even we are working very hard as a from now you entire globe, IT field as well as the education field only, even in this lockdown period also, right from the first day to the till day, we are working. Yeah, continuously we are working. So for that, it is required to identify a list of digital tools that are useful for the students, both are they are inside or outside the class. The next third takeaway is apply a digital taxonomy, because we are going to use the digital tools to the Bloom's taxonomy. So we are going to apply a digital taxonomy. That is why we coined the word as like a digital taxonomy, to map the learning outcomes to use of prescribed digital tools. So how you can able to use that tools in this. Now we are going to consider, there are 2 scenarios we are going to consider. We are going to assume that there are 2 classrooms. One classroom is going to be in a classroom A and another classroom is going to be a classroom B. The classroom A is going to be a conventional or traditional classrooms, and classroom B is going to be a digital technology equipped, digital tools equipped, and Bloom's taxonomy based classroom. So now we are going to consider what are the pros and cons of this classroom A as well as a classroom B. Finally, we are going to see that what are all the cons in classroom A and what are all the benefits you are going to get by means of implementing this Bloom's taxonomy as well as the digital tools in a classroom B. Say, for example, classroom A, which is going to be a conventional classroom, traditional classroom. Now, 4 major things we are going to discuss. One is in the teaching style, that is the teaching learning process. So automatically TLP process, which involves both the teaching style, learning style, and how the participants, how the students' involvement in that process, and how the technologies are going to support for our classrooms. The teaching style point of view, it is going to be completely standard delivery mechanism. It is the instructional based methodology. The faculty member, they used to have their own schedule. In that schedule, they will come to, and based on their timetable, based on the time allocation, they used to come to the class and they will come and stand, they will deliver. This is the way of teaching style mechanism. At the point of learning style, it is going to be an auditory. Either the students can able to, they can able to read the things, they can able to write the things, they can able to listen to things. Sometimes it may be in a passive in nature also. So how the students' involvement in this classes? So the students' involvement in this is, it is completely on auditory based. Learning style is student involvement. It is going to be a passive in nature. It means that the information acquisition, that is, it is told about the content and the process. So simply we are going to give a content, that contents, and what are the process we are going to explain, simply they will be listening it. There is no way of interacting or active in nature in the student involvement. And the technology use, it is a literacy level. There is learning about the technology. So they are learning about the technology. And augmentative purpose, we can say that teaching with the technology, we may be using some few technologies to use our classrooms. So teaching with the technology. Now let us move on to the classroom B, how the TLP and student involvement and technology use is going to be. The teaching styles are going to be, it is a project and problem based. It is a constructionalist mechanism. So it is going to part of giving and some projects. We are going to giving some assignments, or we are going to discuss some of the problems. So the teaching style itself, it is going to be it is not only a content delivery alone, it is going to be an interactive mechanism. So the learning styles, which will kindle a lot of learning styles, that is a multiple learning styles also, which will enable the multiple intelligence from the student's point of view. For example, I'll take one example. So we have a lot of, even in schools also, there are a lot of board exams. They will have the state board is there, and matriculation, and CBSE and IGCSE, ICSE. There are a lot of boards out there. How it is going to differ. For example, the state board also, they will have a In physics, they may be having a light, the subject they may have. The same way, CBSE also they have a light. Same way the ICSE also they will have the light. But how it is going to vary is instead of giving a only theory that may be in one board, the another board may be giving some hands-on experience, giving some project-based demonstration, demonstrating with some prototype model, ask the students to do some prototype model. So that will, instead of learning, we may forget after some time. Whereas if you are going to develop some of the things, or if you are going to develop some of the projects or prototype model, you will never forget in your throughout your life of times. So that is where it is going to multiple learning styles. And apart from that, the multiple intelligence also possible. How the multiple intelligence is, I may be giving some one problem. If it is going to be a traditional way of classroom, I'm giving one problem, I'm going to solve it inside the class. So all the students, they will be following the same procedure. Whereas if it is going to, if you're allowing them to come out with some different solutions, some brighter students, they may be coming out with the different problems. So one problem does not have only one solutions. The one problem may have a multiple solutions. So there is a possibility, there is a platform which will allow the multiple students come out with a multiple solution, so that the others also, they will get an opportunity move from some basic lower order thinking levels to the next higher order thinking level. That is where the learning style is completely, it is different from our traditional way of mechanism. And the student involvement, definitely, because we are going to give some projects, assignments, as well as the prototype model development, as well as some of the demonstration also we are going to give. It is going to be an active in nature. So which is going to be a construct the content and develop and evaluate the process. And then you are allowed to evaluate the process also. That also we will be seeing it at the end of the session. And the technology use, there is a slight difference here. It is a transformative learning through technology. So there, the learning about the technology, here we are learning through the technology. That is where it is going to make a transformation from the conventional to the uh, uh, new way of digital era. The limitations of a classroom, as I said, it is a teacher-centric. So if the teacher is how it is going to deliver the content, based on that only the learning style is also going to be there. So the content is also, it is a teacher-centric, content-oriented mechanism. And more, the conventional, traditional classrooms are going to involve the assessment focused. So they will be focusing on how they are going to prepare for that board examination, how they can able to clear the board examination, how they can able to get a high scores in that examination. So it is a completely assessment focused. Predominantly, which will inculcate only the lower order thinking levels. It won't allow the students to go beyond some higher order thinking levels. So lower order thinking only, which will kindle it. And a timetabled learning as well as some homework based mechanism only, it is there in the classroom A. What the benefit we are going to get in classroom B? It is a student centric. For example, if I'm going to give someone small problem I'm going to discuss in the classroom, if they come out with within a 5 minutes of time or 10 minutes of time, within a very fraction of time, they can able to solve that problem, then automatically I'll rise up the level of problems. So I may take up the problems into that higher order level. So automatically the students are allowed to think in the higher order level also. So the learning focus is also process oriented with the embedded contents. The process oriented with embedded content, whereas only the evaluate the process only in the previous mechanism. So by default, which is going to inculcate a lot of higher order thinking skills from the students. So whereas in a classroom A, which will predominantly, which is going to create only the lower order thinking levels, whereas this one, which will make the students go for a higher order thinking levels. And the last point is a very, very important point, because even nowadays, every students and faculty members, they are experiencing it. It means that anywhere, anytime, learning through the transformative use of technology. With the technology, we can able to, at the lockdown, we are not simply ideal in our home. Even in home also, different students or you people are sitting in very various places in India, but even then you can able to listen these talks. Whereas, for example, even during the summer and winter vacation times, even the faculty members, they can able to attend 1 or 2 programs. So they have to travel, they have to stay, they have to spend a lot of money, and finally they are getting it. Whereas with the technology, you can sit anywhere only by spending only those time, you can able to get a lot of knowledges. For example, even I got last 40 days, I have attended almost 30 to 40 programs. I got a lot of participation certificate in that also. So these are all happens only because of this technology only. These are all the benefits. Now, we are switching from classroom A. It means that traditional way into classroom B in a 21st century classroom. We call it as a 21st century classroom. So automatically switching to 21st century teaching into the students are forced to use the digital tools. Finally, we are going to see almost 40 to 50 different tools, and what are the tools you can able to use for what Bloom's level. So if I want to Kindle evaluate level process, if I want to make the students to use for an create level, so what kind of tools you have to use, what kind of assignments you can give so that the students can able to do with that digital tools in a higher order thinking also. Now let us recall the learning objective. So fixing up the objective itself is a first important point. If you fix the objective in wrong way, then if you are fixing the objective in inappropriate way, it is not a wrong way, inappropriate, then automatically the outcome is also not going to be a fruitful. So when you are fixing an objective, we have to be very careful. You have to follow this 5 thumb rules. The first one is you need to define a learning objective clearly. You need to define a learning objective clearly. It means that at the end of the session, how I have given this when I start the session itself, why we are coming for this hierarchy of cognitive levels with the digital Bloom's taxonomy, and then what is the takeaway at the end of this 1.5 hours, what is the takeaway? So what I'm going to give, what the important things, what the useful things I'm going to give it in the time of 60 to 90 minutes of time. And then second is the explain the need for learning objective. What is the need for learning objective? Because the most of the students, if you go and ask, they may not know. They may be telling that I don't know what purpose I'm studying this subject, where I can able to apply, what is the use for the subject. So most of them, they are not aware of that. Until you explain the need for learning objective, the fruitful outcome will not come out. And then third important point is it is a need of the hour, because the students as well as a faculty, we have to distinguish between what is an appropriate and inappropriate learning objective. So recently, last week, I think I have attended one program which was conducted by our Inspector General of Police, Shailendra Babu, which was conducted by ICT Academy in a Sky session, something. It was very wonderful session. The title is How to Become a Good Teacher to a Great Teacher. So how you are, all the teachers are going to be a good teacher, how you are going to be a great teacher. So in that, he was insisting that in this COVID-19 situation, there are a lot of fake messages which is circulating in the social medias. He was telling the same thing, because the doctors also, they felt that there are a lot of fake messages which is circulating, and that too many of the youngsters, they are forwarding it without knowing whether that information is true or not, whether it is fake information or not. So he said that as a teacher, we have to make the students to differentiate how what is an original information, what is an fake information. He should have the capability to distinguish what is an original, what is an fake messages. He was citing in that. So what I'm trying to say is here, distinguish between what is an appropriate and inappropriate learning objective. We have to distinguish it. And the fourth rule is will be expert in different expertise. So I may be expertise in networks, somebody may be expertise in different subjects. So write the learning objectives in a given topic. So whatever the topic, you have to write your objective. At last, finally, you have to mention, list the hierarchy of cognitive levels. By learning this, by achieving this objective, what the cognitive level he or she, the student, will get into it. That is very, very important. So In the next slide, what I'm going to give is, so even for another 10 to 15 slides, what I'm going to give is how you can able to write an objective. That's going to be the next 3 slides. How you have to write an objective, and then how you can ask the question, and what is the methodology you can adopt for cognitive levels, right from the lower order thinking to the higher order thinking levels. How you can set a question paper in that, how you can ask a question in that, how you can make a outcome of that particular class. So that is what I'm doing. For this, there is no other way. I have to choose any one topic, so that, because I need to explain it so that you all will understand. The participants are from many participants from arts and science background also, and many participants from the engineering background also. So what I thought is I need to choose any one topic which has to be common and understandable by the each and every one. Don't worry that I'm not going to go in detail about the topic. So I think you all can easily follow it up. So what the topic I'm going to choose here is, in digital circuits, very fundamental things. Even nowadays, the grade 11 and grade 12 students from school also, they are learning it. The gates. We all know that there are some basic 3 gates are available, and OR and NOT gates are available, and then NAND, NOR, XOR, XNOR is there. There are some other gates is also there. So what I'm going to take is, I'm going to take a very basic fundamental 3 gates. With that 3 gates, how you can able to set your own objective. By setting that proper objective, by setting a proper objective, you can able to make the different cognitive levels of understanding the concepts as well as the outcome. That also we can see in this next slide. So brief refresher of digital logic circuits. It's a very simple, I'm going to tell. We all know that a digital logic gate is an electronic device that makes a logical decisions based on the different combinations of input which you are going to give it in the input side. So there will be some gates is going to be there. You are going to give an input, it is going to do the process, and then it is going to give an output, some logical output which is going to give. So here the inputs are going to be a logic 0 and logic 1 only we are going to give. For example, NOT gate we are going to get. NOT gate is simply which is going to invert it. Simply which is going to invert it. For simple understanding, if you are going to give a logic 0, the outputs are going to be a logic 1. If you are going to give a logic 1, the output is going to be a logic 0. Logic decisions, the gate which is going to invert the signals. Apart from that, there are 2 more basic gates, that is a AND and OR gates. You need not to go into detail about that. Now, it is my duty to, as a faculty, as a teacher, I need to set the proper learning objective first, so that the students will understand it very clearly. So the professor professor taught the basic gates in second year, maybe in either electronic class or digital electronics class. He is going to explain what we normally explain. We are going to explain the truth table of all the gates and elaborated the function of these gates using the waveforms and solved problems based on the real life examples. So what we are going to do is, we are going to write a truth table of the gates, and we are going to elaborate it with the functions of these gates with the waveforms, and then finally some real life problems, how with the gates you can able to solve the problem. Based on this, now I'm going to write 3 objectives. The first objective is, the students will be able to write truth table of basic gates. This is the first objective. Students will be able to write truth table of a basic gate. That is the first objective. The second objective is, students will be able to draw output waveforms for a given gate combination. This is a second objective. What the third objective is, students will be able to draw logic diagram for a given real life problem. You see that what we are going to taught in the class, the first one is logic truth table we are going to explain, and then how the output waveforms we are going to draw, and then some real life problem. So based on that, I'm going to write, I have written 3 different objectives. One is a first one, second one, and 3 objective we have given. Now we can see that from the objective 1, what levels of question I can able to set in the Bloom's taxonomy. From the objective 2, what levels of question, what the outcome the students will be getting it. From the objective 3, what the outcome we are going to get. Because based on the outcome only, we can able to set the different cognitive level questions. So first objective, what level, what the outcome the students are going to get. Second objective, what the outcome the students are going to get. And third objective, what the outcome the students are going to get. Now let us see. First one, students will be able to write a truth table of basic gates. This is our first objective. From the first objective, what the outcome will be there. Students will be able recall truth table. The recall truth table explained in the class by the faculty member, by the professor. So from the first objective, the students can able to recall the things. The second objective is students will be able to draw an output waveforms for a given gate combinations. So what the outcomes? There are multiple outcomes. From the second objective and third objective, you can able to get a multiple outcomes. You see that the students will be able to first interpret the, first he is going to interpret the given logic diagram and then find output of each block. There may be a 10 gates may be there. So from the 10 gates, I may be having a 3 blocks. So first he has to interpret. First he had to interpret, and then what is the output of each and every block by applying truth table, because he has to apply the truth table. What gate it is going to be. Suppose if it is going to be an OR gate, 0 to 1, 1 to 0. If it is going to be an AND gate, 0, 0 means 0. Similarly, he has to apply the truth table and then decide, he can decide what is the output of the overall this circuit. So here the outcomes are first interpret and then apply, and then he can able to calculate the output. So from this objective itself, if you are going to set the objective like this, you can able to take the questions, you can able to take the students into multiple intelligence level. Now let us see the third objective. My third objective is the students will be able to draw logic diagram for a given real life problem. So definitely which is going to be involved in the real life problem statements. So definitely which is going to have a higher order thinking levels. So the expected outcomes are going to be the students will be able to first identify. First is identify the number of inputs, because I'm going to give a real life problem. So the students may not know how many inputs are required, how many outputs are required. So first he is in a position to identify the number of inputs, and then what logical decision he has to take. So he may be splitting into 10 blocks, or he may be splitting into 7 blocks. So each block, what is the decision? What is the logic decision it has to take? And then logic decision, first input and output, and then what is the logical decisions he has to apply. And then third one is he has to identify the gate, which is an appropriate gate. That is where the objective itself, when you are writing and there are 5 thumb rules you have to use. The third thumb rule is differentiate between the inappropriate and appropriate objectives. So he has to identify the appropriate gates and then decide its combinations. So in what combination I have to use, whether I need to use the and not, or nor and art. So how I'm going to combine this, and then he can able to draw a logic diagram. So now you can see that by writing a one single objective, I can able to get the multiple levels of outcome. So you can able to get multiple levels of outcome. Now I hope you understand that how to write an objective of a given topic. If you are going to take one topic, how to write an objective of a topic, and then from the objective, by writing a appropriate objective, you can able to get a different levels of outcomes. You can able to get a different levels of outcome. Now let us go into an Bloom's taxonomy. In that Bloom's taxonomy, how you can ask a question, how you can ask a question, how you can make the students to think about from the lower order thinking to the higher order thinking, and what the action verbs you have to use, what is the outcomes are going to be there, that we are going to see in the next slides. So how we can assign a priority, we all know that now we are getting into an Bloom's taxonomy. So normally I don't want to go into detail about the basics of Bloom's taxonomy. So revised Bloom's taxonomy. So now in 1950s, the Benjamin Blooms has developed an Bloom's taxonomy in that the steps are going to be thinking behaviors. So based on the thinking behaviors as like a stair-step approach to thinking about the levels of learning. And then Anderson and Croth has modified this cognitive levels into 5 into 6. So where it starts from lower order thinking, right from recall, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. This is how the revised Bloom's taxonomy has been created. Now, hierarchy of Bloom's taxonomy. Now we can see that hierarchy of Bloom's taxonomy. Cognitive levels. The first one is recall. As I said, it is recall. So what the learning levels are going to be and what the action verbs. The levels of learning levels are, it is focuses on memorization and recall and reproduce. So it is going to focus on the memorization, recall, and how you are going to, how the students are going to reproduce it. So this is what the learning level. So either he can memorize, recall, and reproduce. Now, what the action verbs? Please don't take it in a negative side. Only whatever I have listed here is few action verbs. There are hundreds of action verbs are available. Don't stick on to only these 3, these 4, or these 10 action verbs alone. So there are hundreds of action verbs are available. So with that action verbs, you can able to have that kind of learning levels. So which are all the action verbs which is related to that learning level, automatically that action verbs comes under this recall. For example, list. So identify, define, and state. For example, list the components inside the desktop computer. So whatever the faculty member taught inside the class, simply he can able to recollect it. And identify the object so that he can able to recall that where I have seen. So this is what this is an item. And then define. So what is this? What is that? So you need to define some of the terms and then state some theorems, state some rules. These are all comes under a recall, which is going to only the learning levels are going to be only the memorization, recall, and reproduce level. Now let us see that the same gate with that, how we are going to see that. Yeah, recall. Now I'm going to example of learning objective at recall level. So now students will be able to draw a logic symbol of AND gate. Draw a logic symbol of AND gate. What the expected outcome is going to be there? Only the symbol of an AND gate. Easily, whatever he can memorize or recall it topic. And then understand level, next level. So the learning levels are going to be grasp meaning and which is going to explain it and interpret it, how the things are going to be interpreted. And until you understand the concepts, you can't able to translate it. So the translation, learning level translation, and paraphrasing. The paraphrasing is very important, that the paraphrasing of rewriting the things with the different statements. So rewriting the things with the different statements. Until you understand, you can't able to paraphrase the things. So what the action verbs are going to be? So either it may be a describe, explain in detail, and give some example of, and select some of the things. These things are all which comes under understand level. And also I'm mentioning that only these action verbs not alone describing only understand. There are n number of action verbs are which is available. You can use it according to your subject and topic. Now let us see with one example. Students will be able to write a truth table for a given combination of AND gates. Unless until they understand, they can't able to see that the combination of different gates to see an output. So what the expected outcome is, the table which is showing various combination of inputs and output for a given combination of AND gates. For example, I may be clubbing 2, 3 AND gates. Maybe I may be using a 10 gates. So first 3 may be combination, and the second 2 may be combination. These outputs will be clubbed into another one combination. This is where I have make a gates. So unless until the students understand this AND gate in detail, he could not able to draw a output of the truth table. So this is what the understand levels of outcomes. Next, apply level. So in this apply level, the learning levels are going to be use knowledge in the new situations. Now from it is exactly lesson between the higher order to the lower order and lower order to the higher order. It means that, so whatever he understood, whatever he is having a knowledge, he can able to apply into a new scenario. It means that in a new situations. So automatically you should follow the rules, which involves you should not violate the rules. You should not violate methods. You should not violate the laws. If it's a Kirchhoff's Ohm law, means that is a Ohm law. So wherever you go, whatever you are applying, you have to apply the same thing. And whatever the principles, you have to apply the same principle. Only thing is that the new situation only. So that is at the apply level. So here the action verbs are, few action verbs are apply these things and calculate these things and solve it and predict it. These are all some of the action verbs. Now we can see that the same gates, how you can able to ask a question as well as outcome of that. The students will be able to decide which gate is suitable for a given situation. So I'm going to give one new situation that as like a same NOT gate only. I'm going to give one situation I'm going to give, so that you have to solve that, you have to apply into that situation. A staircase is there, which is going to connect the ground floor and first floor. So there will be a one light which is going to be kept in the in between from ground floor to the first floor. So what will happen whenever I'm climbing up from ground floor to the first floor, I have to control it from the ground floor itself. I have to control it. Either I need to switch on or I need to switch off. Suppose if I'm climbing down from the first floor to the ground floor, so I need to control the same light from the first floor. So this is what the situation, then you have to apply. A staircase light is controlled by the two switches on the top of the stairs, and another one is the bottom of the stairs. Identify the gate, what gate you can able to apply and how you can able to realize. This is where the students' outcomes are. The students will draw a block diagram of a situation. First, he has to draw a block diagram of the entire application in the situation and write a truth table. So at the ground floor, what is the truth table in this situation? At the first floor, what is the truth table in this situation? And then he has to identify the appropriate gate. This is at the apply level. Next is analyze level. In this analyze level is now analyze, evaluate, and create. These are all going to be a higher order thinking levels. So analyze level, the separate the whole into a parts until the structure of the whole and relation between the parts is clear. So now the students is in a position to analyze the whole things. For example, in a computer, in a desktop computer, we may be having a multiple components. So there will be a hard disk, there will be a power supply, there will be a SMPS, there will be a input devices, there will be output devices, a RAM, ROM, multiple devices are there. So he has to analyze what is the use of that particular component and how you can relate it, where you need to connect it, and how you can make this overall things can to be worked out. So this is what the separate the whole into your parts until the structure of the whole and relation between the parts is clear. So the action verbs are going to be analyze, infer the things, and examine the things, and dissect and ascertain. So these are all the action verbs. You can able to use it for this analyze. Now we can see that how you can able to set an outcome of this at the analysis level. Students will be able to realize the operation of BCD to binary decoder using optimum gate. So this is what the problem is. Automatically, what the outcome will come. First, the student has to draw a truth table of a decoder. So BCD to binary decoder, he has to draw a truth table. And then he has to decide what the function it is going to perform it and what type of gates I have to use for implementing this. There will be a number of steps are going to be there by using a Connaught map, and they can able to solve, and finally they will do some optimum gates also. So this is where you can able to make students to go for an analysis level and then evaluate. In this evaluate process, the judge value based on the criteria. So somewhere you need to take some decision kind of things, judge the value based on a criteria. It is a decision making process. It's assess the process and you need to conclude the things. You need to contrast whether what is a contrast between this system and this system. Unless until he evaluate the first system and second system, he can't able to say that this is the best and that is the best, and he has to evaluate the things. Now we can see with one example how you can make students to ask for this evaluate level. Compare. Students will be able to compare and contrast two methods for implementing given function. So how the expected outcomes are going to be? Students should able to apply different methods to implement the function. I may be giving some BCD2 binary counter. So in this binary counter also, he may be implementing in a different way. So which is the best way? Which is optimum gate? Which is the best way? Sometimes we may be giving that. Sometimes we may be giving that we need to reduce the delay. We need to increase the performance of that. So in that situation, he has to select both the systems can able to perform. So which system I have to choose for it? So he has to evaluate both the system, and finally he has to conclude that this is the best system. So they should able to identify the pros and cons of each and every method, and they should able to select the criteria and to justify, and he has in a position to justify which one is better than that of other one. So I may be using there will be easy to understand that there is one microcontroller is there is one microprocessor is there. So on what situation you can use for a microprocessor and what situation you can use for a microcontroller. It is not possible for using for everywhere you can use for a microcontroller. It is not possible. So based on the criteria, it is our duty, it is a student's duty to justify that which is a better one, that unless until they understood both the things, they can't able to judge the things. So this is at the evaluate level. Next, this is the higher levels, that is at the create levels. Generate a new ideas. The students will come out with some new ideas and products or the ways of looking at things. So he may be come out with some different solutions. He may be come out with some X may be come out with some one solution. Y may be come out with some different solutions. So already there are some solutions are available. He will come out with some different solutions so that the entire performance may increase by 2%. That is the best design, right? So it is not only every time at the create level, the student has to create right from the scratch to the end. It is not a mandatory that. What the thing is that either he can design it for the entire things right from scratch to the end, or he can able to combine the things. So he wants to combine this A and this B. Finally, he will bring it to some C. That C will have some fruitful outcome and devise it. He can able to devise it and he can able to modify it. That is where what I'm trying to say is, if my system is a 10 millisecond delay, so I want the system to delay is 10 milliseconds to 8 milliseconds, or I want to 10 seconds to 8 seconds, I want to reduce it. So you have to modify it. You have to speed up the process by means of some delays. Wherever the delays is there, you are trying to reduce the delay. So modify it and you can plan it. So how, if it is going to be a complex problem, complex situation, in that complex situation, unless until you plan correctly and design it and then implement so that you can able to get your output. So this is at the create. Now we can see that how the questions we can ask. Now the students will be able to design of counter or state machine. So automatically students should able to generate a truth table first. So what is a counter? Then what is an input? what is an output, and based on that, for what count value, what the process, based on that, he has to draw a truth table, and then he need to select the appropriate products. It means that what gate I have to use, what flip-flops I have to use for my design of a circuit. This is at the create level. So this is how you can able to write appropriate and inappropriate objective you have to set. Based on that objective, you can able to bring the lot of outcomes from the students, and also you can set the, in a single topic you can able to set a different level of cognitive level questions you can set. I think the time is very less. So for ICT tools, digital tools, I rush up fastly. In what level, what are the tools are available. I'll just listed out some of the important tools, and you can choose your own tools, which tool you can able to use for your own subject, and you can apply which will fit into your application, fit into your topic, that you have to choose it.
Ganesh, sorry to
Yes.
interrupt.
Yes, bro.
One small announcement to the participants.
Yes.
Participants, please note, within 5 minutes, we'll share the Google form for the attendance. Kindly fill and submit. That will be taken as the attendance. Those who are submitting the attendance Google form and our feedback form will be considered for certificate. Right? So I understand that people are using this webinar effectively. It is not only for certificate or getting attendance. It will be for the benefits of the students. So how we are going to utilize all these Blooms levels effectively, and how we are going to apply for the betterment of our student community. Thank you. Thank you, Ganesh. You please go ahead.
May I take another 10 minutes, Professor, and then we will go for a question and answer.
Yes.
Right.
Please,
Okay.
please.
Yeah. Thank you, Professor.
Participants can type your questions in the chat box so that Ganesh can pick up some questions and he'll answer it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And then now the digital learning tools we are going to see. The technologies that support for a 21st century learning. So which are all the technologies that is support for a 21st century tools, and which is going to support the processes and actions with technologies, and contain the cognitive elements as well as the methods and tooling, and facilitate creation, communication, collaboration, either they are inside the campus or maybe in the outside the campus. So it will facilitate the creation, communication and collaboration both in inside and outside. This is where the digital learning tools. Now let us recall the revised Bloom's taxonomy at the lower order thinking to the higher order thinking, right from remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating and creating. So now digital Bloom's taxonomy. So left hand side, which is given in the lower order to higher order thinking, and remembering to creating, and the learning activity. So first let me explain with one activity for a remembering. Here I have given a many learning activity. The first one is recognizing, listing, describing, identifying, retrieving, naming, locating and finding. Now I will explain with one tool. There is one tool which is available in the internet. This is one common example which I have chosen. So you can conduct some kind of quizzes in the remembering level. You can conduct some kind of quizzes. So this is this exactly the source, whatever I have mentioned here. It is an online quiz only. So from that only I have taken. So if you from this bicycle, right? From this bicycle, once by saw the diagram, if the students can able to recognize that it is a bicycle, then it is an remember level. That is a learning activity. So what you can give, one picture you can give, in that picture he has to recognize it first. It is a bicycle. And then the second one is, if you see that the listing of the components. So the rim is there, seat is there, handbar is there, pedal is there. There are multiple components he has to select. So according to your subject, you can select your own images. Based on that, you can ask it, and then describe it. What is the purpose of this seat? What is the purpose of the pedal? What is the purpose of the tire? Likewise, he has to describe the things and then identifying. So this is a bicycle. Bicycle can be used it for moving one person or two person from one place to the another place with manual, without any electrical or any other external devices. So this is one way. And retrieving the things. So retrieving also and naming the components and locating it. Maybe a mess of 20-30 pictures you can give. So among that 20-30 pictures, you need to ask the students to select, pick the right one. Whatever the question you have given, that image he has to pick it, and locating and finding it. So these activities are going to comes under a remembering activity. Similarly, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. Let me go with, because this is a one example I have given. So similarly, what I'm going to give is the technology tool is, now I'm going to list it out, multiple tools are I'm going to list it out. So each tool which will comes under this remembering level. So whatever the tool which I'm going to list it out here, almost 50 to 80 different tools I'm going to list it out here for a different cognitive levels. All these tools are, it is a open, it is a free only. So you maybe some small add-ons are going to be there that you have to add up along with your browser. Either it may be a better, you can go with a Google Chrome browser that will have a lot of options. You can able to add up your own things, add up all the add-ons so that you can able to do the digital tools along with your appropriate cognitive levels. So this one is a remembering level. The technology tools are going to be a labeled images. The learning activity is listing it, identifying the components, and apart from that, you can able to give some describing the activity also you can able to give. This I don't want that. This is a matching of the things. What is the use for PowerPoint? It is for bullet pointing. OneNote is for, it is an activity. If it is going to be a real time, I may have a lot of activities to do that cognitive level to better understanding in practical. So for remembering learning outcomes, there will be a bullet pointing, the highlighting, bookmarking, searching, and note taking. These are all the different tools are which is available. Under that bullet pointing, what the technology tool, right hand side, whatever I have shown here is the technology tools which is going to support for the remembering learning outcomes. Under the bullet pointing, under the highlighting, under the bookmarking, searching, and note taking. For a bullet pointing, we all know that we all very much aware and we are very much expertise in that is PowerPoint. It's a PowerPoint. Of course, everyone we are using it. And also nowadays we used to have embedded PowerPoints also we have. In that embedded PowerPoint, you can able to have a lot of GIF files also you can able to have a many animations, small clip animations. Through that, you can able to explain the mechanism of that particular topic also you can able to give. That is one way of remembering the thing. And mind map. This was quite interesting. Even the activity inside your classroom also you can able to conduct. So one common topic or one unit you have covered, then you can make the people to make a multiple groups, and one single topic you have to give. So maybe a RAM, you can say that RAM. Then one group can ask questions indirectly. So this is used inside the computer, the first question. So, and the second questions you can also give. Or otherwise, what you can do inside a classroom activity, if you want to make it as a digital tool, you can make it as in the Google form itself, you can make it. So you can ask the question. For each and every component, for each and every activity, you will have 5 questions. The first question, from the first question, he can identify it and he can answer, you give a award of mark of 5. Second question means 1 mark, 4 marks. Third means 3 marks. Fourth means 2 marks. After the 5 questions only, he can able to identify it, then you can award it for 1 marks. So this is a one way of, you can make the people to think as well as he can able to recall all the things. So for example, RAM means RAM is where it is used, how it is used, what is the capacity, what is the purpose. So similar 5 different points he can able to rethink. That is what the mind map. That mind map online tools are available for remembering activity. And we all very much aware of that there are some flashcards are available, flashcards which will have both sides there will be an information. So one side some information, one image will be there, other side some points will be there, he has to think. And similarly, highlighting tools are word processor, and even the PDF document also we can use. And the bookmarking tool is Digo, which is a tool which can, if you're a researcher, if you're a part-time or a full-time researcher, that tools are going to be very useful. So it is a tool for research, and you can have particularly research kind of only. For example, if a same topic, if 10 years old boy is searching is something, the answer will come. So if it is going to be a researcher, PhD level of candidate, the answer should be a different. So that is what our expectation. But the thing is that Google search, generally, if you go and search it, magnet, then whether it is a first standard student clicks, the same answer will come. 1 crore 20 lakh results will come. The same thing if the PhD scholar is also searching, the same results will come. So this kind of tools which can able to differentiate that what level you want to search. So according to that, the search results also will come. And then the delicious, which is for a social networking web of service store, which is going to share as well as you can able to discover it. And the site you like. So this was quite very useful tool. You can have it on your add-ons on your browser. So where you can able to manage. So whatever the site is in the researcher's point of view, I'm telling. So wherever the research articles which is related to your topic, that you can able to manage, discover for a scholarly references. And for a general searches, you know that there are a lot of search engines available, Google, Bing, and Yahoo. Along with that, you can have some Docpile and web crawler. It is an internet bot, so which was invented even in which was used from right from 2004 itself. So Docpile and web crawler, it is an internet bot which is going to stamping of whatever the visitor web pages. All these things are going to be recorded. And then note taking, there are a lot of note taking tools are available. Even in Western countries, they don't carry their notes. They will be using their iPods or with that app only they will be making notes. For an understanding, it is the best tool is an giving an videos and what the learning activity is, explaining the content with the different animations and different videos and different tools also you can able to do from the understanding. So advanced research also you can have, and blogging, commenting, annotating, and subscribing the things. So we all know that annotations, NPTEL videos, if you have watched the NPTEL videos, there are a lot of videos which will come, the faculty experts, IIT experts, subject experts will explaining with some annotations. So which has to be recorded also, right? So advanced researches, Google Boolean searches available. So blogging is some blogger, we know that apart from that WordPress, it is a content management system and you can create your own blogs or website for a specific topic or something. And Tumblr, that was a good tool where you can use for a social network website for micro blogging. It is not a general blogging. You can use it for some micro levels of blogging also you can use. And commenting, Twitter, MS Word, notice boards. If you go to some top universities, they will be having a digital notice boards. It is not only by displaying. Some digital notice board which is available in the library itself. So where today's discussion topic may be cyber security. So whoever, whatever they know, valid information, they will post onto that notice board. So that after 1 day or 3 days, we will have a humpty of information about that particular related topic. That kind of notice boards also we can able to create online notice boards where the understanding of and then you can make it as a single document and you can share it with everyone so that they will understand the complete topic about that cyber security to all the students. And then threaded discussions, which is an asynchronous discussions threaded discussion tool. That is also add on. You can use it for asynchronous discussion, the comments and responses to some specific topic, which is related to similar to an commenting only. And one more important two tools I need to mention here for exclusively the research scholars point of view. So Zotero and annotating, Zotero and Mendeley. And Mendeley, these two tools, what you can able to do is share your citations. You can share your citations. Even nowadays, we used to get some lot of Gmails. You can get some mails. Some process they may be sharing their own citations. Why don't you share? Why don't you cite my article? You can have a look of my article. So what I can do, I have published 116 articles. So I can create as a 20 article in a networks, 20 article in a cyber security, 20 article in some image processing. Likewise, I can make it as some small club. Articles I can share it to some groups also. So that is where this Zotero and Mendeley can be used. Zotero can be used for both in individual as well as a group, whereas Mendeley can be used only to the groups. Minimum the group member should be more than 2. And Link2Go is a powerful annotation tool as well as we can able to record it. And then subscribing, we know that RSS feeds, which is available in everywhere. And then applying level of tools, Excel is a very good tool where you can able to create your own Excels where the there are a lot of analysis formulas you can able to feed into that. Ask the students to give a different data sets, ask the students to log into it, and they can feed the data and they can get in results from that. They can able to interpret the things. So that is where we can able to do. So running, loading, operating, playing, hacking, uploading, sharing, and editing. For playing, you know that nowadays the PUBG also. So through that PUBG, what the students are doing is it is a 3D virtual world where somebody else may be sitting in somewhere else. He is also playing in the same game, and you can able to chat also. So that chat and voice also can be there. It is a application level of tool. The second life, there is a 3D virtual world. You can able to create it, and visualization and simulation. And for a hacking application, there are three different tools you can able to use it. One is Hermitage, which is a graphical cyber attack management tools, which can able to visualize the targets. So most of the networking tools, whatever we learn, these are all the attacks, this many number of nodes, they can able to only the imagination. So where you can able to see some of the simulations on the screen also. That tools are Hermitage and Wi-Fi, which is for automated wireless attack tools. But Hermitage Wi-Fi, which will work on only the Linux platform, it won't work on the Windows platform. And social engineering toolkit. And there are we know that there are sharing, there are clouds which you can able to share your all your files. And editing, there are some Photoshop and Pixlr and LibreOffice and Writer, many tools. And this is Colorado University. They have developed this wonderful applications which can be used for analyzing level. So where the FAMT, this is an first initially why the purpose they have started is, you can, there are a lot of maze games are available. So you can understand the, okay, yeah, you can understand that topic with you can understand that topic with some games also. So initially, which was started with only the physics concepts, and later on they have included all the science concepts. Nowadays we have both engineering as well as science concepts which are available. The students can able to do some games. They can able to play some games to understand all these concepts. So especially microwave games are very interesting and more familiar in most of the universities. They will be using it. So that teaching learning process for both the engineering as well as the science topics they can use. And then analyzing tools are mashing, surveying, linking, tagging, and reverse engineering. Reverse engineering is a very important one. For mashing, first I will tell you the Google Maps, how it works. So you know that whenever you change one source and destination, you are fixed. So in between, if you are deviating the area also, automatically it will analyze and reroute your the things. That is also one way. And surveying, by means of different surveying, Google Forms and Survey Monkey. So all these surveys are which is getting an information. So similarly, once the topic, once you finish your first unit or second unit, you can give some survey forms where you can be able to understand that how the students can understand the concepts or other things. And databases also, you can use any databases for, you can give some topic and ask the students to do it on the, make them to give it back. So reverse engineering is tools. There are many tools. There are Boomerang is a very famous tool. OLEDBG. OLEDBG is for a cracker's point of view, and whereas the Boomerang and JAD, these things are reverse engineering. You may be having a output. From the output, you can able to reverse. You can come back to the reverse, and you can able to analyze the whole thing. So Chinese are very famous, and they are very well versed in reverse engineering process. They won't invent, but they can able to do some reverse engineering to develop their own products. And then evaluating word tools itself, you can take in that, sorry, the slides are jumping. Yeah, evaluating. There are some commenting and posting, reviewing, moderating, networking, and refactoring and testing. These are all the different tools. You can create your own blog spot where you ask the students to give the entries. You can able to evaluate, and the reviewer board is also there. and Moodle platform. So once you taught some of the, if you have registered for courses in Coursera or something, they will be giving some virtual platform, where that virtual platform you can able to develop or you can do all the codings. You need not to have all your softwares or anything. You can do it, and the peer group members, they can able to evaluate, and they can able to give an marks, evaluation mark also. It is a peer level of reviewing. That also can be done in this evaluating process. And refactoring, and then testing here, Wireshark and Snort, and Megasplit. These things are, you can use it for a testing of your networking. Wireshark is for network packet analysis tool. You can evaluate the things. And Snort is a network intrusion detection system for intrusion prevention system also. You can do that. For a computer security, Metasoft you can use. Next is the creating is a wiki space, and wiki tool is you yourself you can create your own portfolio creation also. Say for example, web technology, if anyone is teaching, you ask the students to give one assignment that you have to develop your own portfolio pages. So that is one way of you can give an assignment, that digital tool. So wiki also, you can also able to create your own spaces. So for creating also the programming and filming, animating, blogging and wikiing, publishing, video casting and podcasting and modeling. So faculty members, they can able to develop their own video casting as well as a podcast also you can able to do. If you're a subscriber for an Apple, you can able to Apple podcast also you can do that. So which is Apple users, which is freely, which is available. So if you see many famous professors like many professors, they can Tenenbaum kind of networks, Tenenbaum, that process, they have their own podcast. So you can able to go and subscribe, and you can watch all his videos as well as audios without his video, and you can watch both the audios as well as the PPT along with that. So that kind of things also which is available in that creating. Finally, now it is a time to concluding is that just a minute. Okay. One thing is that final, what I'm trying to say is you need to give an awareness to the students. First of all, you need to give a proper objective you have to give, and then from that objective, you have to make the outcomes. And then appropriate tool you have to choose, and you have to give an awareness to that tool to the students, and then you give some guidelines also. So what is do's and don'ts, how we usually do it in laboratories and any workshops, what we are doing it. The same way you can give some do's and don'ts also you have to give. And then if possible, you can try to give some manuals, the small manuals you yourself you can create and circulate to them, and then ask the students to involve in that digital tool. This is how you can also make the students to come on to a digital tool. This is a one-time process. Once you've done it, and after that every time you can do it in the same process in a repeated way. I think I have as per my objective, so how you have to write an objective, and what is an Bloom's taxonomy also we have discussed, and what are all the digital tools and how you have to map the digital tools, because I have given that what the digital tool related to what the cognitive level, that also I have given. If you have any questions with this, I'll finish my presentation. If you have any questions, you can feel free to ask. I'm ready to give an answer.